Welcome to Tangent Time, where I have a passionate ramble about what's on my mind. So, let's start off by saying what Fall Guys actually is. So Fall Guys is a massively multiplayer party game with up to 60 players online in a free-for-all struggle through round after round of escalating chaos until one victor remains. Let me start off by just saying Fall Guys is really fun. Well, it's fun, but for me, it's in equal measure fun and stressful. Now, let me tell you why. The thing is, because it's a party game, and because can only be one victor, right? You're always trying to win. And for me, it's really frustrating when you die to something which was unavoidable, or you stop paying attention for a split second, and then somebody throws you off a ledge, and you just fall to your death, and you're like, because you just want to be good, and you want to win, and you want to go for that. You want to go for the crown. You want to go for the victory rally. The crown on, right? Let me discuss some of the aspects of the game and what I think they've done really well, and what makes it so much fun, and what adds a lot of replayability to the game. Okay, so let's talk about the aim of the game. So 60 players start on the very first round, have to either race everybody else and dodge obstacles while you're doing it, racing to the finish line. So a random wrecking ball comes across and tries to knock you off a platform. You then have to catch up to everybody else, right? Or you have to grab a tail from somebody and avoid other people. Or there's a bunch of obstacles you have to jump across and dodge and weave and stuff like that while progressing up a winding path, for example. Or grab a bunch of eggs, collect them, put those on your side of the thing. Or there's also a football game, right? So you have to score goals against the other players and dodge, right? After each round, progressively more people get eliminated until you get to the finals, where it can be arranged people. So maybe there could be like 2 people left, 3 people left, 4 people left, even up to like 12 people sometimes, depending on how many people get eliminated in each particular stage. Sometimes there's a set amount that have to be eliminated, and there's some levels where there isn't a set amount of people that can be eliminated. So the amount of people at the end stage can vary. But on the last stage, there can only be one. There can be only one victor. And the aim is to then be that last person alive. So the finals, you can have tail tag, where you have to get the tail and avoid everybody else stealing it from you, so you have to run around. There can be a hexagon, which is a series of layers of hexagonal tiles. So you have to jump from tile to tile, and they drop, say, 2 seconds after you land on them. So you have to avoid falling down levels, and meanwhile dodging other people, because if you're above, you can see the other people, so you can jump and drop the tiles before they're able to get there. You're then trapping them, so they will run out of tiles and they will be forced to drop below. There's also Full Mountain. You have to run up a mountain very slowly while dodging some flying balls and some spinny pillars, so you have to avoid those obstacles and race the other people to the end. And then at the end, you have to grab a crown, which goes up and down. You also have Jump Showdown, where you have to dodge 2 pillars that are spinning around in a circle. One you can jump over, one you can't. So they intersect at some points, and if that's at the point where you are, then you are going to get knocked off. So you have to jump and kind of jump in between these 2 rotating pillars. Did I mention the floor also disappears in segments? So you can get trapped on one side and have to time jumping in between these 2 spinning rotating pillars, while also dodging other players. So it's quite the hellhole. So there's a couple of different types of levels, each with their own challenges, and the whole point is, at the end, you win the game and you get 1 crown for that, and that crown you can then use to buy skins and buy things for your character. So you can spend that currency as well as just being happy that you won and beat everybody else, right? So there's a good variation of levels, which are some where potentially they're mostly skill based, and there's a bunch of levels where a certain amount of luck comes into play. So there's a good balance between levels. So there's a good balance between gameplay mechanics and luck. So then that makes for a really fun and repeatable experience, because you want to win, right? Every time you play, you might get a different set of levels, or you might get a level that you haven't played today, right? So you might play for a couple of hours, you might get a different level that you haven't played yet, so then it's a bit of a challenge, right? You have to get used to all of the different levels, and in order to win, you have to kind of get reasonably good at them, and you sometimes have to just hope for a good bit of luck, right? So it keeps it interesting, and it keeps the replayability up, which is key with this type of party game. You want it to be repeatable. You don't want to have a party game where you play it a couple of times and you just get bored, right? The levels are just not interesting, or there's not enough skill, or there's not enough luck involved. If it was just luck, the game would be dead. Nobody would care to play a game where it's just completely random who's going to win, because then it's not really a game, is it? So generally, I would say that the gameplay and the level design is quite good. And there are a few mechanics to the game, like you can grab people, you can jump onto walls and grapple to pull yourself up. You can grab people and push them off an edge, for example, and sometimes that eliminates them from the round, depending on what type of game it is. And there's a few simple mechanics to the game, and there's a few simple controls, but the ones that they've got really aid in the gameplay, and it's kept simple, so then that makes it fairly competitive, right? So that then keeps you wanting to come back, because you might go out a lot and you might lose a lot of games because the controls are kept fairly simple. It's easier to get progressively better at the game, right? So then that makes you want to play more to get better and learn levels, and then eventually start winning a lot more often. Another thing that's quite related to gameplay and level design is the sound design. Now, there's not really a lot in terms of sound design, or not. Well, there is a lot in terms of sound design. There's not really a lot in terms of the sound on audio in the game, because you got some background music, and you've got some sounds from characters jumping or bumping into each other or hitting into doors and things like that. And the style of the game is very, it's a party game. It's vibrant, it's colourful, it's cutesy, and the sound kind of just reinforces that. So I don't really have a lot to say on the sound. I think they've done a good job. The sounds in it are kind of what you'd expect from a party game, right? They're very vibrant. They're woo, wow, woo. A pop as you hit a door. Doom doom as you hit a door that doesn't go through. It's the sound design. It's reasonable, right? So another part of the game is the characters. So everybody gets a little character, and they're called beans, right? So they basically look like a jelly bean with feet and arms, and that's basically it. But the interesting thing about it is each bean can be customized, right? And it's fairly simple, right? Your body, you can color that. So you can get various different colors. You can color it green, blue, black, crimson, like there's a multitude of different colors. Next, you've got patterns. So you can have a spiral pattern, you can have like a multi-tone, like bottom half green, top half brown, for example. Like there's different patterns that you can use to apply them to your character. Again, fairly simple, but a little bit different to make your character different, right? Next thing you've got is you have costumes. So you can have a ninja costume, you can have like an orc costume, which I like. You've got a pirate outfit, you've got a caveman, you've got a shell from Portal, you've got all sorts of different character designs, and each character has a top and a bottom part. So you can create a character where you have a pigeon bottom and a dinosaur top, for example. And you can really use these things to make your character quite unique. which is good, right? It's a party game. You want to have a fun-looking character, right? Who doesn't enjoy that, right? So the two types of currency that you have, which you can spend in the store, are crowns. Those you get from winning games, and in Season 2, they've added crowns as a reward. So you play the game enough, unlock a new level, a character level. Say you go from level 2 to level 3. After getting enough experience, you might unlock a crown. So you can either get those by winning or playing the game enough. The second type of currency is just general XP. And you get that just from playtime, right? You play the game enough, you get that currency automatically. Crowns only from winning, or perhaps certain levels as a reward. So those are much harder to attain. And in the store, you can buy outfits or costumes or colors for your character with either one of those currencies. Obviously, the crowns, they might make some better costumes, or the one thing which I think is actually interesting about it, and I actually think is great they've done, is they allow you to unlock all of these things by just playing the game enough and being good at it, and rewarding you for playing the game, or you can buy them with in-game purchases. And I actually like that. I like that model, because if I'm paying £15 for a game, and I know that I can unlock something in the store, and I go, oh, I like that, right? I'm going to want to play more. I'm going to want to play the game more so that I can unlock that. So for me, the type of player I am, I don't want to pay extra money for something after I bought the game if I can just play the game for a couple more hours and unlock something that I actually want, right? So I really like that. I really hope that more games in the future use that type of model, because it really encourages people to actually play the game and enjoy the game a little bit more. And then as a result, they unlock the things that they want. So I think that's great. One of the other interesting things I think about the game, which I think really helped the game succeed. So I think it's a really, really smart choice on their end to set it up this way. So as it's a party game, you can play it with your friends, right? So you can lobby up with a couple of your friends, and you can just play Fall Guys. You can me and the boys playing Fall Guys, right? So Fall Guys with me and the boys. If you play the game, if say 3 of your friends get eliminated and you're still in it, then what ends up happening is if you win that game, then everybody gets a crown. So everybody on the team gets rewarded for one person winning. So there's no incentive for you to then try to fuck over your teammates, right? You're not directly competing against you and your teammates, you are competing against everybody else, which encourages you to actually team up with your friends, because you have a better chance of winning, and you will get rewarded if one of you does well and one of you wins. So that then removes the potential toxicity of playing with your teammates. There's so many games where if you team up with your friends and then it gets to a certain point in the game and you have to beat your friends, then that will then encourage you to try and betray your friends or do something to mess over your friends partway through the game. And then that really detracts from the aim of a party game, right? So that really wouldn't fit with the type of game it is. So I think that's really smart that they've done that. So not only does your team win, but everybody on the team benefits from that. So yeah, I think that's a really smart way to do it. And yeah, I mean, I'd like to see more games in the future do that type of model, especially if they're party games or games where your team is the one that wins, right? I think that's about it. I think that's all I've really got to say about Fall Guys. I mean, in summary, really fun game. Can be stressful when you're not winning. Great to play with your friends. I mean, I would recommend it, and I like what they've done with some of the gameplay. The levels are quite different, and there's a little bit of randomness to them. There's a good mix between skill-based levels and luck-based levels, and yeah, everybody can customize their little character, so they can have a really awesome little pirate character if they want, like me, or an orc. And yeah, generally, there's a lot of replayability in the game, and it's really fun. So I mean, I would recommend playing Fall Guys if you want to have a fun game to play with your friends. You know, kind of just have a fun evening on. You know, I would recommend it. So yeah.